Okay, in the other one, the starfish one, I was like, the baby in the womb situation, we can't know how the baby grows in the womb. And I was like, oh, I need to come up with a better thing, because yes, we can know how all that stuff works, and like eventually maybe we can just know how the whole thing works, and then take that mysteries of God, bam, we know your mysteries, try something else. Here's what I think we don't know, though. We don't know the ecosystem. We don't know how it all connects and works. And I think that's what the preacher was getting at in Ecclesiastes. I keep calling him the preacher. I'm going to keep doing that because that's how it's addressed. I think he is Solomon, right? David's son. And isn't it interesting? They kind of talk the same way and think about the same kinds of things. I don't know. It's interesting because, like, David wrote the Psalms, right? Okay. The preacher. Ecclesiastes. You don't know how bones are grown in the belly. So stop this nonsense. It's too complicated. Like, just worry about you and do your days and, like, learn how to worship God. Well, there are other things, though. We don't know how interconnected we all are and all this stuff is. We just barely found out about the mycellium structures underneath the forest, We just barely finding out about some of this stuff, and we're barely scratching the surface and going, oh, it's kind of a little more complex than we thought. This turns out the monoculture thing was actually really, really bad for all of it, including us. Like, we're part of it. Also, oops, we're part of it. We didn't realize there's a lot of stuff we don't realize. We think we have the pinnacle of all science because we have quantum mechanics, and it's like, I think quantum mechanics is pointing to a whole lot of questions that we don't have answers to. And so I think it's very irresponsible we do things like bioengineered products or bioengineered creatures. We're taking the system as it works, and we're kind of mucking around, messing around, just doing some fun stuff, huh? So, just making little tweaks here and there, millions of years of evolution. No big deal. Because, the people who do that believe in evolution. They don't believe in the God thing. They think, we all think, well, at least God will come put it all back together again. And the evolutionary scientists are like, yeah, muck it up. Who cares? This is the way this has survived. And like, we've all grown up together in this extremely complicated, literal tapestry of life. I think the best thing, though, would be to put the red thread here instead. Let's just do that and see how it looks. And it's like, it looks like garbage. Now stop that. Put it back. Stop doing this. And you don't even believe in a God who's going to come back and put it all back together. You're just mucking it up, and it's just like kind of a broken thing now. It's like when you sew and like all those loops come underneath the bobbin. You're sewing along and all of a sudden and get a little jam, and you're like, crap, I know what this jam is. And you pull up the presser foot and you try to pull the fabric out, and it's stuck, and you know exactly what the crap's been going on down there while you weren't looking. It's all messed up, it's all tangled up and mangled, and it looks fine from the top. Top looks great, Studies show there's no side effects. Studies show this is perfectly safe. Studies show it's exactly the same as the other thing. Well, it looks just the same, doesn't it? And then you try to lift that fabric off the machine, and it's stuck. Got a big tangled up mess. It's stuck in the bobbin somewhere. Somehow something's gone wrong with the tension or something. I don't know. It's horrible. You have to dig that crap out of there with your seam ripper and your scissors. You just dig it out, finally cut it out, and then you just got to kind of rip all those threads out. It's kind of a pain in the butt. My point is, though, all is not well in Zion, and that applies to science too, Science Zion. You think you have Science Zion over there. Sitting there in Science Zion. Yay, we got science. We're Zion. We got the thing. We got the thing to do. We know what to do. We got the PC stuff. We're politically correct, and we know stuff. We're educated. Yeah, science. Well, quit with the genetically modified crap, then. You're going to do stuff. That might be really bad. Like, really, really bad. It might be really, really bad for us. So maybe we could be a little more cautious. Since we've just barely understanding things like the mycelium layer, like, maybe we need to be a little cautious. Maybe there's other stuff, Maybe there's other things. Maybe the red thread goes there for a reason, You might not know how the whole thing works together, comes together, plays out. You can't see the big picture. That's what we believe God is just seeing the big picture. Or God literally is the big picture. We're not sure. But like, the big picture exists. Look how much die-offs there are, science. You also know about the extinction. You just blame us all for it. Well, people are doing the extinctions. Better living through science. That's what I say. Pour in more of that red 40, please. That'll look really good, just like berry juice. That'll be perfect. Just has to look good. Who cares if it actually is full of antioxidants and vitamins? We just need it to look like it does. Red 40. Better living through science. All these natural flavors, artificial flavors. Yeah, natural flavors even can be tricky. Sciencey, science is great. Science is great. But also, we need to be wise, and like, all is not well in science. Either is science. All is not well in science. All is not well in science. All is not well in Zion either. All is not well. All is not well. There are things that are well. There are some things that are well, but all is not well. Most is not well. Things are not doing well. You can see that, science. You know that, coral reefs. You know that. Extinctions, please. No. I don't know if we did get very much better living through science. Science, better living through understanding science, yes, but when we just start full steam ahead, great, we figured out some new idea, plow through, now we have all this styrofoam, yay, we love that stuff, it packs stuff so well. Look, we can make plates out of it, just throw them away, it's easy. Now we don't have to have a hard life. Life just became hard anyway, though. Like, life, it kind of points to God, doesn't it? That no matter what we're doing, life just kind of is difficult until we figure out how to get rid of pride and crap, until we figure out how to do the actual Jesus stuff. Life just is hard. Stressful. Backstabbing. Games you have to play. Oh my gosh. I can't even handle that right now. Like, thinking about going back to that nonsense, it's just too much. I'm just not even going to do it. In the world, not of the world, right? I'm not playing the games, and I'm not doing the hints, and I'm not doing the clues, and I'm not doing anything, and I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to live an actual life without all the politics. I don't know how the tapestry all works, though. That's another thing. I don't know how the whole thing is working. And if we just pluck out number one at the top, like everyone's like, let's just get rid of the president. That'll solve it. Both sides do that every 4 years. It is, I feel like after the first 4 years, I realized the first 4 years I actually realized an election was when Clinton got in office. Me and my friends, we wanted George Bush. He was familiar. We were fourth grade. It was fourth grade, George Bush, Clinton. And I was like, well, who are you going to vote for? To my parents. And they were like, not George Bush. I'm like, why not? We like George Bush. He's a nice guy. He looks nice, like a grandpa. I didn't say that. I just said, why not? We like George Bush. But now I know why we liked him so much. He seemed like a grandpa. He seemed like an everyday guy, an everyday grandpa. That seemed nice. But, okay, Clinton seemed like a slick used car salesman. Like, not quite like Wormwood Matilda, but like kind of like that. Who wouldn't want like a nice benevolent old grandpa? You know what I mean? If you're gonna choose one, I mean, anyway. Okay, so I first realized the election happened 4th grade, blah, blah, 4 more years. So that puts me in what, 8th grade? 14? A lot happens in those years, Learned some stuff. I saw some stuff. And I realized, first thing, I'm pretty sure either that election or the very next one from 14 to 18. Yes, 100%. I would have realized that election by then for sure. Because also 9/11 happened during that time. 9/11 happened, I think, when I was 16. Right? Is that the math right? I don't know. Maybe I was 17. But anyway, that's when I realized, no matter, and I think it must have been this presidency or like the 9/11 presidency. Ooh, that's so crazy to think of. It's scary to even say those words on the internet. Oh my gosh. So there we did all that. Anyway, at some point, one of those election cycles early on in my youth, like I was a teenager likely, and I realized that everyone just blames whatever president's in office. Like, not the people whose its party is. If it's your party, you're cool with that. You're cool with the stuff he does. You're like, yeah, well, he needs to do that stuff. If it's not your party, you're furious. You can't handle life. It's not how it's supposed to be done. Nobody ever do this. And then it switches, and then they just do it the other way. It's insane. And I was thinking, oh, everyone's going to see this, though. Give it a few election cycles. People are going to notice this. Nope. And it's gotten even crazier because the candidates have gotten even wackier. They're just getting wackier and wackier and wackier. And on both freaking sides. You think your candidate's not wacky? He's wacky to us. Watch our news. You'll see what he is. He's so weird. He's so wacky. The same way ours is not wacky to us. He's normal. He's great to us. Yours is the wacky one. That's what we all just think that about each one. Everyone thinks their one is the one, and it's like 50-50. So like, why do we think our one is like the best one? Can't we just see a little bit of the other side? Like, can't we just try to be a little less crazy? Okay, so here's the thing. Everyone just thinks that, and everyone thinks if we just replace this one guy, the whole thing will get fixed. Has that happened? Has that happened yet? Can we just not think that anymore? That is the dumbest thing to think in the world right now, I think. It's everyone doing it. It's your vote. It's your own vote. It's when you go to the grocery store. It's like that experiment they did. I saw a show. They did an experiment. People really liked that. It was okay. I'm getting ahead of myself. It's like when you go to the grocery store, you vote. You vote with your dollar. You vote with your action. Okay. Well, they did this experiment on this TV show called like Timeless. I don't know. Some kind of English thing. I saw it on YouTube, I think. Anyway, they just like went back in time. It was called Back in Time. I don't know. They just did this market square. If anybody recognizes this, they're going to be excited to hear it. Anyway, there's this market square in the middle of like a regular town, a modern town, but the people like work there. They're going to be like cosplay or like reenactment actors, and they're going back in time, right? And they make bread with sawdust and crap, and they do all this stuff. And the people in real life, the people in not doing this, in just like the everyday norms, they come around and they like see how it is. You know, they buy stuff from these shops and stuff, like normal people, everyday people, average people, buying stuff from the shops. And they see the town evolve. Like every week it gets to a different decade, right? It evolves, and it's really cool to see. It's really interesting to see the evolution of the town, and you can see how people choose to spend their money, where they choose to shop. They shop for the sales, they shop for the good deals. And so the shops they really like, and you hear them talk about, they're like, oh, I really like that shop, but it's just too expensive. So they're choosing to not have the life they really like for money, for mammon. Like, oh my gosh. And what are you going to spend with all that extra money? Some more gadgets? Like, but you're not having the life you want, really. Like, everyone's like, oh, it's such a shame that butcher went out of town. Now we just have to shop at the grocery store, and that's all we have. I think that's the way it went. Anyway, no matter what it was, they were disgruntled, okay? They were disgruntled with the situation. But they voted. They did it. They all did it together. They all chose that. And the other shops might have had better prices if people had just shopped there. But it's just the way it went. But their actions chose how it went. And that's literally us. Like, we're literally choosing how it goes. It has nothing to... One person. That is one person. One person is the president. They have a bit of power. A bit of influence. But really... It's one person. Everyone else's vote matters so much more. Like, what everyone's doing is what we're doing. We're doing it. We're doing the things we don't want done. We're upholding a system we don't want. We're doing the things we don't want done consistently every day. It's like, well, I have to do it. It's how I live. It's how I survive. We need to think of a new thing. We can could just do something else. That's how it works. That person doesn't have any power. It's just a person. It's armies that have power. I mean, he has some authority that we allow because we agree that he can command a certain army, a certain force, right? And we're worried there might be other armies with some kind of influence. There's everyday people, like, we just need to stop. Like, everyday people, just the armies and stuff, let's just stop giving people the power, right? Can we just be an anarchist? Can we just stop giving people that power in our hearts? Can we just say, maybe we don't want the kings? You know, God had a point there. At some point, he said, you know what? You don't want kings. You don't want this stuff to happen. You just want judges. Just do judges. Just do judges. And we were like, you know, but we did that king thing, so we're just going to have to keep doing it. Nothing we can do. We already tried it. Now we're stuck in it. No, we're not. Maybe we could just go back to judges or something. I think we just need to try anarchy for a while. It's kind of like when you take your kids out of public school and you have to do a detox. Like a life detox where you can just realize how to rest and realize how to get interested in things, realize how to be happy. You could, we need to do, I think, a leader detox. Maybe we just need to not have a leader for a little while. The whole planet, maybe, I don't know. Every person can just decide right now, you know, I'm not going to have a leader. I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm just going to do what I feel like is right in my heart. I think that would solve a lot. Just talk to each other as brothers and sisters, too. That could lead to great wars and calamities, maybe. But maybe that's just what the thing is. That's what Ecclesiastes laments. That's what Matthew 24 predicts. Maybe that's just how it goes. Maybe we're holding on to the thing we don't need to be holding on to. We're holding on too tight. Trying to force and control it, as we always do. We need to learn to let go. Let it be. Stop the force and control model. Like, the more we try to fix it, the worse it gets. like when Finn and Jake take that dancing guy, what do they call it? Wiggle? They wiggle or something? Wobble? I don't know. I don't remember. This, like, dancing guy, and they're loving it. They're like, oh, yeah, let's dance. This is great. Let's have a fun time. But then the dancing guy starts to get kind of crazy, kind of noodly, and then they're trying to put it back together, just making it worse, right? Then they smash it all back together, just making it worse. And it's like, we got to get this guy back to its mom. Like, we got to get this, just leave it be. Got to leave it alone, right? We just need to leave the planet alone. We just need to stop doing the stuff. Just stop mucking it up. Let's just try to step lightly. You know, maybe we don't need all the big machines. Maybe some machines make sense, but maybe let's try to step a little bit lightly. A little bit. Maybe it makes sense to not have as many big machines, you know. Maybe it makes sense to be more local. We think that now. We discovered that now. We think that's true. We all like that idea, I think. I think the majority of people like the idea of, let's just get back to nature, back to local, back to not messing around with the whole giant big picture that we can't hold on to. It's a huge, big, giant construct. And maybe we can understand it. Maybe we ought not to, and maybe it's okay to not have all this stuff figured out and figure out how to fix the whole planet. Maybe we could just kind of take a step back and let the planet fix itself. It is a tapestry. It used to hold together all on its own. We are now holding the tattered shreds of it up. We're trying to hold it together, aren't we? But it's just so big and unwieldy, and I think there's a skunk running around on the side of the car. Yeah, that was kind of cool. We're going real slow. We're at a farm. There's a little skunk running by the side. We'll just get back to the land. Oh my gosh. I just want to live in the middle of nowhere with a small group of people. Anyway, I don't know. I think it's good to think on these things. It's good to try. It's good to try to accept what is. Matthew 24, I mean, it really might be the truth. Even if you're a sciencey person, you know, you could read Matthew 20. That really might be just what is. Like, it might just be a way of acceptance. Like saying, you know what? Don't be troubled. It's going to happen. Don't be troubled, but, like, I mean, just so you know, like, it's going to happen. So you might want to, like, I don't know, think about it a little bit, what you're going to do. Decide your morals now. Fill your oil lamp with the love of Christ before it gets too hard. Because when it's too hard, you're not going to think of it. When you're starving, you're not going to think of, like, how could I love my neighbor? I still get what I need. You might just go try to love only your friends and, you know, steal your neighbor's things. I don't know. You got to get love in the heart before it all comes down. It's going to suck for you and everyone. Everyone's going to have a really hard time if we can't all get it together this time. I think the main thing is it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be okay.